But joining us now is California Congressman Jimmy Gomez. He's a member of the Ways and Means Committee and the Select Committee on Intelligence. Congressman, Senator Van Hollen is being praised by some fellow Democrats for his trip. The administration seems to be more than happy to keep this case and immigration in the spotlight. And some Democrats are saying the focus should stay on issues like tariffs, the economy, and high prices. So I want to ask you the question we just talked about in the panel. Are Democrats playing into Trump's hand here?
This is an issue that's, they're all connected, right? The rule of law and due process protects individuals. Doesn't matter where they're from. It doesn't matter if they're a citizen or a resident. They are protected. But the rule of law also tells people around the globe that you can do business in the United States, that you can invest here. There's going to be due process and a way of how business is done. They know that if they invest money, it's not going to disappear. They're not going to be shook down for a bribe. That's what the rule of law does. So it's not just about individuals, which it is, but it's also about bringing resources and money and investment to this country. And let's also look at what other countries are doing. They're issuing warnings to their citizens who are visiting this country. That's directly impacting our economy as well. Canadians, they used to make up 40% of all foreign travelers to Las Vegas. That is way down. And what I'm hearing from individuals that work in the culinary union and people who work in the hotels, that they're cutting hours to literally zero. So they're basically unemployed, but still listed as employed. So the rule of law is about our rights, but it's also about creating an environment that people know that they're going to be safe in their person, their families, but also in their investments and in their businesses.
Yeah, the uncertainty is really something. In the last week alone, I think I personally have had someone from Australia, South Africa, and El Salvador ask me whether or not I think it's safe for them to leave the country. And frankly, I've said, I don't know. I also want to ask you, last week you rallied with Senator Bernie Sanders and Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez on their L.A. stop of their Fighting the Oligarchy tour. It drew an estimated 36,000 people. According to the Sanders team, the pair have drawn thousands at rallies in all kinds of states, blue states, red states alike. They're delivering a really simple argument that the Trump administration helps the rich get richer while working class people scrape by. One of the big criticisms of Democrats in this last election is their message wasn't clear. Their point of view wasn't clear. Do you think that's why this tour is resonating with people? And why aren't we seeing more Democrats lean into that?
I think one of the things that we have to do is really just talk about the issues. One, cost of living is too high. People can't afford to buy a home. They're struggling with paying rent, childcare. How do we help them out? Donald Trump, that's what he campaigned on, reducing the cost of living on day one. He failed. It's gone actually in the opposite direction. So when we do that, we're also saying we're for you. Additionally, we have to tell them we're willing to take on the billionaire establishment in D.C. that has taken root and willing to make sure that we can defeat it and pull it out by root and stem. And when we do that, people come to us. If you look at how I campaigned, you look at Chris Deluzio, Pat Ryan, we use the same message: reduce the cost of living, take on the establishment to do it. And that's what we need to do, because it says to the American people, you're our priority, not the special interest.
But doesn't that go back to what I just asked you about Gavin Newsom's criticism? You know, due process is really important and it's part of the Constitution. But when you're talking about getting people to the polls, if you give them an option of a complicated due process argument and money in their bank account, being able to pay rent, being able to feed their children, which one of those is more effective?
Well, remember, we have to do it all at the same time. One thing is you want to talk about the economy, but the issue of due process is resonating with people that wouldn't be normally on our side. So Joe Rogan, he spoke on his podcast about how horrific this is, because if it can happen to a legal permanent resident, what happens if there is a left-wing government, not a right-wing government, but a left-wing government that says you're too conservative, you are a white supremacist, and we're going to deport you instead, right? The shoe can be on the other foot very quickly. So I think that you can do both at the same time.
All right. I also want to ask you, you're leading more than 50 House Democrats calling on the president to reinstate a Path to Citizenship program he ended last month. This is an Obama-era program that provides essentially funding for nonprofits that help lawful permanent residents become naturalized citizens. Do you think you're going to get any traction there? Do you think you can convince the administration to keep this program going? And do you know why they're dismantling it?
One, this is a program that was the funds were appropriated by Congress. We actually have increased the amount of money because people believe, hey, if you're in this country, you're an immigrant, we want you to assimilate. What's a better way to assimilate than actually become a citizen of this country? So the Trump administration is stopping funds that should be released. Is the Trump administration, why are they stopping it? Because they don't believe that immigrants should be here, period. And anything that goes to help them, they're going to get rid of that money. Do I think it's going to they're going to change their mind? Probably not. But you know what? We're going to keep raising the issue because this is something that people need to know about. Because I think in the end, people want to see people come to this country, learn our language, learn our ideals, believe in our country, but also eventually, hopefully, become a citizen of our nation.
All right. Congressman Gomez, thank you so much for joining us on an Easter Sunday.
Thank you.